give a warm welcome to all of you for joining our discussion here today. And I thank everyone for taking out time for continuation of this discussion on the Bhagavad Gita, the 18th chapter. We have been discussing the 18th chapter, in a fair amount of detail, and and now we are coming to the end of one particular section from verse 19 to verse 40, was where Krishna was discussing about different attributes in three modes. He's already discussed in detail in the 17th chapter, but in the 18th chapter again he summarizes bhakti in the mode of in the three modes. So just to summarize what we have discussed till now, one moment. Yeah. So after explaining knowledge, the object of knowledge, the knower in the three modes, before this we have discussed intelligence, three types of intelligence in the three modes. And last time Raj Parikshit Prabhu spoke about the determination in the three modes. Now today what we are going to continue discussing is happiness in the three modes. So it's important for us to understand everyone in this world wants to be happy. There is no one in this world who says that, yaar, mere ko na dukh mera na acha lagta hai. I like to be unhappy. I'm that kind of person, I want to be unhappy. Nobody is like that. Everyone wants to be happy. But somehow, because of the nature of this material world, we become unhappy. This material world is called dukkhalayam, meaning it is a place of misery. It is practically designed for us to be, in misery. And you may get some happiness if you live exactly according to the rules of the scriptures. You may get some happiness, but that happiness is very temporary. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. So even if you get a little bit of happiness in this material world, that happiness is temporary. It doesn't last. It's not shashvat. So this is the nature of the world. But still everyone is struggling to enjoy. Everyone is working so hard so that they can get those few moments of happiness. So here in this section, Krishna is going to explain to us that what are these happiness in the three modes. And in the introductory section where Krishna says, now I'll be telling you about happiness in the three modes, Srila Prabhupada has given a very powerful purport. So I'll just speak about a few words, from that, and then we proceed from there. So, one moment. So Prabhupada says, he starts by saying, a conditioned soul tries to enjoy material happiness again and again. Thus, he chews the chewed. So a conditioned soul, this is the words of the scriptures, of course. Prabhupada is repeating that, and I'm repeating Prabhupada's words. He says that a conditioned soul, he keeps on trying to enjoy material happiness again and again. He is never satisfied. Okay, now I got what I wanted. Now I don't want to struggle anymore for getting material happiness. Now I have enjoyed a good meal. Now next 100 meals, if they are simple, I'm all right. Now I have whatever. I mean, a living entity has been trying to enjoy ahar, nidra, bhay, maithun, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Living entity has been trying to enjoy this eating, sleeping, mating, and defending from time immemorial. There was never a time, like in the Gita, the start of the Gita, Krishna says, never was there a time when you did not exist, nor I, nor any of these kings. Similarly, the corollary to that is, never was there a time when the living entity did not try to enjoy. That is the nature of the soul. Anandomayo bhyasat. The soul is pleasure seeking by its nature. The soul is pleasure seeking, but because we are in this material body and we have forgotten who we really are, we have forgotten that we are not this body. We are the soul that is temporarily residing in this body. Next body may be something else, depending on our desires in this life, our karma in this life and previous lives. Our next body is already pre-decided. So it's very interesting that we have been enjoying like this again and again and again since time immemorial in different species of life. So If you look at ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithunam cha, it is described samanyam etad pashubhi naranam dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharme nahina pashubhi saman. So this eating, sleeping, mating and defending, ahar, nidra, bhaya, maithun, these are common. Samanyam etad pashubhi naranam. It's common between the animals and the human beings. Both have this. These are fundamental basic needs of both the animals and the human beings. Then what is different? Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho. This dharma, religiosity, the process that connects a human being with God, the living entity with God, dharma. Dharma hi tesham adhiko vishesho. It is extra and it is special. Dharme nahina pashubhi saman. So if we are not following dharma properly, then we are like two-legged animals. And we are trying to run after those same things that the animals have done. So for example, we have lived through and we have enjoyed ahar. What is ahar? Ahar is food, eating. We have enjoyed this ahar in the body of a pig. In our previous lifetimes, we might have been in the body of a pig. What does a pig eat? The pig eats the most abominable kind of food. It eats stool. It eats the stool that is coming out of the body of human beings and other animals. It eats that stool. The fresher, the better. And it actually enjoys it. You can hear the pigs squealing, their tails wagging when they're eating that stool. They're enjoying it because their body is like that. Like every living entity in this material world has been created by the creator Brahma in such a way that they complement each other. There are the scavengers that have been created. The crows are like scavengers, the vultures are scavengers, which is why even if any bird dies, you don't see a dead bird on the street. Very rarely you see, but they vanish in no time. Before the municipality comes, the scavenging living entities that have been created, have been specifically designed for the purpose. They come and take everything away. So the pig enjoys what ahar? It enjoys stool. Similarly, nidra, we have enjoyed nidra maybe as a polar bear. If you have been born as a polar bear, someone who has a tremendous desire to sleep. Boss, मेरे को सोना है यार, मेरे को कोई सोने क्यों नहीं देता? Why don't you allow me to just rest when I want to? I want to sleep. I don't want to get up. Don't wake me up. So a person who's like that has probably been in the body of a polar bear. What does the polar bear do? Polar bear hibernates. It eats and eats and eats and eats. It does plenty of ahar. And then it goes into it digs a hole, it goes in and it hibernates, meaning it sleeps. This term of computer hibernating, meaning going into an extended period of rest, comes from that. Hibernation, excess sleep, right? So we have enjoyed hibernation. Then the bhaya, ahara nidra bhaya. Bhaya means what? Bhaya means fear, or that fear that someone is going to attack me, is going to kill me, is going to steal from me, is going to harm me in some way. This bhaya is common between the animals and the human beings. Now, you can imagine the bhaya of a deer. We have probably been through that also. See, human beings, how do we defend ourselves? We build security systems. We build a door to our residence. We put a lock on it. We put double, triple doors. There's a security door, then there's a door behind it. Then we put the CCTV cameras. We do everything. But still, Rakhe Krishna Mare Krishna Rakhe ke. So when Kala, when the influence of time is there, when death comes, nothing can protect you. Nothing. You will still die. With all the security systems, still somebody can break in and kill you. But the point is that the bhaya that is experienced by a deer in the forest, what kind of fear they have experienced, right? And what can they protect? They have nothing. What is their protection? What is the protection that a deer has for itself? See, all other animals have something, right? The cows, bulls, the wild, wild beast, as they're called in the African savanna, they have this, horns. The other animals have claws, they have something. What does a deer have? That has nothing. Only one thing it has. What? It has speed. So it defends itself by running. And it is food for everyone. See, other living entities are not food for everybody. But the deer is food for all the carnivores. So what kind of fear it is experiencing, right? But it is still trying to enjoy. It tries to eat food. It is constantly eating. Even when the lion is creeping up on it, the lioness is creeping up, it is still trying to enjoy by eating ahar. It is still getting its enjoyment. And then Maithunam, this material world Srila Prabhupada describes, is called Maithunam Agar. The whole world is revolving around sex life. Now, sex life, we may feel human beings are enjoying, but other living entities are also enjoyed. The donkey also enjoys sex life. But how does a donkey enjoy sex life? A donkey approaches the she donkey. Prabhupada describes this in the scriptures, in Bhagavatam and Gita also describes in various places, that the he donkey approaches the she donkey. And when he approaches her for sex, the she donkey first kicks him in the face. She kicks him from behind. She kicks him in the face. Like this, several times he gets kicked in the face, and then he gets his sex life. So this is the suffering that a donkey goes through for sex life. Similarly, there is this insect called the praying mantis. Some of you might have heard about it. The praying mantis, when the male praying mantis approaches the female praying mantis for sex life, he gets his sex life, but immediately after that, the female praying mantis eats the head of the male praying mantis. She completely just eats it. And then she eats his full body also. He's finished. Why? Because she has to nourish herself now for the next generation to be born. So this kind of ahar, nidra, bhay and maithun, all of them are enjoying in their own way. But in so many species of life which we may have been through, we have been getting the same enjoyment. It is not that the pleasure that we get by sleeping on a Dunlop mattress and a nice soft pillow is anything less than the enjoyment that a common mongrel, a common stray dog gets by just sleeping on the road, on its side it sleeps. There is no difference. Yes, they are more fearful because they are constantly under attack. We are less fearful because we feel we are not under attack. We think we are living in a very comfortable home. So हमें क्या tension है? शांति से सोता हूँ रात को. But we don't know. We are being attacked by other things. What is that? We are being attacked by old age, by disease, by death. We are under attack at all times. So very interesting. So in the human form of life also, and in this life, we have been in the human form in previous, probably we have had many human forms before this. The soul has been here in this material world eternally for millions of lifetimes. So we've probably been through many human lives, many pig lives, many praying mantis lives, many donkey lives, again many human lives. And in this life also, we have been trying to enjoy in so many ways those things that have already been chewed. So very beautiful. Prabhupada says that which has already been chewed. So this is coming from Srimad Bhagavatam, where Prahlad Maharaj speaks about this. Right? He says that puna puna charvita charvananam, that again and again we are chewing that which has been chewed. So our nature is such that if we have got sense gratification of any sort, any of the five senses, if we have got gratification, even if it was for one moment, what does the mind do? The mind immediately takes a camera photo of it. Hey, you enjoyed. Didn't that feel good? Didn't that feel gratifying, satisfying? You should get it again. Try for it again. Make an effort again. So we keep on trying. When you are getting that, sense object coming in touch with the sense, it may give some satisfaction, but not full satisfaction. You don't feel fully. You feel ki yaar, aur thoda milta to acha tha. Little bit more would have been, really wonderful. So we try again. We try again and try and try and try. That's what is being said. That again and again, the living entity tries for satisfaction, for sense gratification. Sometimes he gets it, sometimes he doesn't. But the interesting part is, now if you have got some sense gratification, next time round, when you get that same sense gratification, satisfaction is a little less. Like, it's very interesting that we may eat one gulab jamun, and then after that, if we eat a second gulab jamun, you feel nice. But the third gulab jamun, the satisfaction has already started going down. We're already feeling a little bit incrementally less satisfied with that third. It's not the same as the first one. When you put in your mouth, you're like, oh, boy, this is too good. But when the second and third one goes in our mouth, the satisfaction incrementally comes down. So we just need to be conscious that this is the nature of the world, that even what satisfaction we get, it is temporary. First of all, the gulab jamun doesn't feel good in your mouth forever. It's for a few moments you feel nice. Once it's gone down, what do you feel? You feel nothing. You just feel a sense of, okay, I had a nice gulab jamun. I feel satisfied, but I also feel guilty sometimes. My bad. Okay, so what I'm saying is that the satisfaction that we get right now with something that I'm trying to enjoy, the next time I do it, I don't get that enjoyment, right? So I need to try harder, more and more, struggle harder and harder to attain it, but it still remains elusive. So Prabhupada gives the example of sugarcane. Like sugarcane, if you put sugarcane through the, that machine, first time little bit juice comes out and that sugarcane juice is very blissful. But the next time when we again take, he again puts that through the machine, little less juice is coming out. The third time when I put it, even lesser juice is coming out. But this is our nature, that we still are looking कि वो पूरा 3 बार निकालने के बाद भी हम लोग उसको देखते हैं कि इसमें से कुछ निकल सकता है क्या? If someone gives it to you, you'll still try to chew it and see something can come out. This is the nature of material world. Material happiness doesn't give us satisfaction, but still we are struggling very, very hard to get it. We are never satisfied. Even if we get it, we are not satisfied. So now the next part, Prabhupada mentions in the purport that unless one meets devotees, he says that unless we meet devotees, we do not understand that what are we doing? We are simply repeating the same activities over and over and over again, simply for what? Because we are searching for happiness. We don't encounter real happiness unless we meet the devotees. So this is the beautiful introduction to this happiness in the 3 modes that is given by Srila Prabhupada. Then Krishna speaks about happiness in each of these. Happiness in the mode of goodness, happiness in the mode of passion, happiness in the mode of ignorance. So first we look at happiness in the mode of goodness. So let's just read the translation. He says, O best of the Bharatas, now please hear from me about the 3 kinds of happiness by which the conditioned soul enjoys, and by which he sometimes comes to the end of all distress. And then in text 37 he says, that which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. So he says that happiness in the mode of goodness, it may taste like poison. So we need to understand what is this happiness in the mode of goodness. He says that it may taste like poison in the beginning, meaning it is very difficult to execute. It requires great discipline. It requires great self-control for getting happiness in the mode of goodness. So therefore, it may taste like poison in the beginning, but in the end, happiness in the mode of goodness, in the end, tastes like nectar. And he says it awakens one to self-realization. So what are these kind of happiness in the mode of goodness? Let's discuss that. So first, he says, just some examples of happiness in the mode of goodness. So one of them is performing austerities. So Prabhupada mentions in the purport that, like, for example, if you're following certain austerities, that I will not eat meat. I will, during Ekadashi, like today is the auspicious day of Ekadashi in the month of Purushottam Mas. So it's a very, very auspicious Ekadashi. But in Ekadashi also one may have a desire that I want to eat something. Yaar, kya hai Ekadashi? It keeps coming every 15 days. But if you're willing to perform that austerity, no, Ekadashi I will not have any grains. I'll not have means I'll not have. No matter how much my mind tells me, no matter how much my senses tell me, I'm not feeling satisfied, I want to eat more. But no, I will follow austerity. So that is austerities. Similarly, performing service to other people. Now, this gives a certain transcendental, happiness, which is happiness in the mode of goodness. See, when we gratify our own senses, that is happiness in the mode of passion. You feel happy. You feel, ki yaar, I felt good. But when you serve others, when you gratify senses of others, when you serve others, when we serve others, that gives a certain happiness, which is more than the happiness we got by serving ourselves. That is happiness in the mode of goodness. Now, while doing this, it may feel difficult. That, this, when suppose you're walking, on the street, and you just got some Mahaprasad from the temple, and you're driving home. And when you're driving home, some beggar comes and knocks on your door, and you give them that Mahaprasad, and you don't keep any for yourself. Now, that is austerity. That's very difficult to do. But the happiness that comes from that, so it's poison. It feels like poison. That अरे यार मेरे लिए लिया था ये मेरा था महाप्रसाद, मैं भी इसको दे रहा हूँ. So it may feel like poison, but when you see the happiness on that person's face, and you give them some nice Mahaprasad, that is nectar. That is very nice. So it's a very subtle kind of happiness. Leading a simple life. Now, when everyone in this material world is leading a very, very fancy life, they are leading a life which is full of all kinds of aisho aram, all kinds of sense gratification, all kinds of material trappings. When somebody is living like that, if you choose to live very simply, that we will have just bare minimum belongings in the house, bare minimum we will keep things. Our food will be very simple, sattvic food we will eat. We will not eat very opulent food. We will not wear very opulent clothes. Our home also, we will keep it very simple. So I'm not bringing devotion into this. This is just simplicity in life, simple life, high thinking, so simple living, high thinking. So a person who lives like this, it's not easy. It's not easy because there's a constant pressure, peer pressure, that others are living in such a fancy life. Why are you living such a simple life? If somebody wears very simple clothes and comes to the office, everyone will be watching him. What kind of clothes he wears? Look at us. We wear such nice, crisply ironed clothes. And someone wears very simple clothes. Immediately, people will be passing judgment. So it's not easy. It may feel like poison, but there is nectar in the end. Avoiding sense gratification. So in Krishna consciousness, for example, we are told that there are 4 do's and 4 don'ts. The 4 do's are: we must associate with devotees. We must read scripture, read and take shelter of scripture. We must chant the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And we must follow a certain diet. We must offer food to Krishna and then eat it. So these are the 4 do's. And there are 4 don'ts. There is no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. So these are the 4 don'ts. So these 4 don'ts, if we are avoiding sense gratification, which we could do when nobody is watching, we could do it. But no, person decides that no, I don't know. I want to be a good devotee. I'm not a pure devotee. I'm not yet got there. I'm not yet developed, control over my senses. I'm not developed control over my anger. Like just now I got angry, right? You all saw it. It was all open camera for everybody. So I was angry. So I may not have come there yet, right? But I still choose that no, I don't want to follow this kind of things because this is taking me away from bhakti. So I don't want to do this, right? Avoiding sense gratification. Farming is another subtle kind of, happiness that and it's very difficult. Farming is very difficult for one who tries it. It's very tough. So farming is another subtle kind of happiness where you're putting in a lot of effort and nothing comes for a long time, for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, sometimes for years. If you're planting trees, you plant trees and your grandchildren enjoy them. You don't get to, right? But there is a subtle happiness in that I'm planting something, maybe 2 generations later somebody will enjoy. That's all right. I don't mind. I want to do something good for humanity. I want to build something for others to enjoy. So this is happiness in the mode of goodness, living an honest life. There's a certain satisfaction in living an honest life that, others may be cheating, others may be doing whatever they want. But no, I will live honestly. I will not tell lies. Just to earn a few rupees more here or there, just to get a position, just so that people will respect me. I don't want to tell lies. I don't want to convey a false impression about myself. Right? So this is happiness in the mode of goodness. All of them are difficult to perform. They need patience. They need sacrifice. So patience is a virtue that most people don't have in this world. People want quick, abhi result dikhao, turant. Nobody has the patience to wait. Nobody has the patience to, go through the hard work that is needed for someone to really become a good devotee. It's a long journey for one to come to a point where we genuinely develop love for Krishna. It's a long journey. Nobody has that patience. Everyone wants quick results. Prabhuji, I've been chanting for last 5 years, 10 years. I still don't have any taste for the holy name. I still don't have any love for Krishna. So, is this process really working? No, it's not like that. See, first of all, millions of lifetimes of conditioning, of enjoying ahar, nidra, bhai, maithun, that has been the absolute core and focus and center point of our life for so many lifetimes. Suddenly in one lifetime, and this lifetime also we've been enjoying like crazy, and then suddenly you decide that, okay, now I want to surrender to Krishna. It is like a car which is moving at 200 miles per hour. If you apply a light brake, the car is not going to come to zero suddenly. It will come, if you apply light brake, it will slowly slow down from 200 to 180 to 160 to 140 to slowly it will come down. For it to come to zero will take a long time. क्यों? क्योंकि light brake लगा है. Sudden brake लगा है तो क्या होगा? When your car is going at 200, if you give a full brake, suddenly what is going to happen? Anybody? What's going to happen?
You will turn. The car will turn.
The car will overturn.
Overturn. Yes, it will overturn.
Skid karega, it will hit the curb, it will hit the divider, this, that, all these kind of things will happen. Correct? Why? Because something which is moving at a very great speed, suddenly change in momentum means everything gets destroyed. In the same way, bhakti also, if we suddenly become a pure devotee, you can imagine आपके जिंदगी में काफी चीज उथल-पुथल होगा. Things will be disturbed, right? So we have to understand, if we are hitting a slow pedal and slowly reducing our sense gratification, slowly reducing our bad habits, then you have to understand that it will take time. And we have to be patient. So patience is a virtue that many people don't have. And for happiness in the mode of goodness, patience is a must. Any kind of happiness in the mode of goodness requires patience. It requires sacrifice, that I will give up this. But everyone is having, no, I don't want. But it's very enjoyable, but I don't want. Sacrifice, right? So a person who does this, it is not easy. So therefore he's explaining here, Prabhupada, that this requires, a lot of control. Very difficult to perform. You need patience, you need sacrifice. Therefore, and it takes time. Therefore, the happiness that comes here is long-term, but the suffering is short-term. So the suffering may be right now. That's why it feels like poison. So it says, Krishna is explaining, feels like poison in the beginning, but it is nectar in the end. So what is the happiness that these people experience, people in the mode of goodness? Subtle pleasures. They get subtle, not gross. Oh, I ate this food. Kya maza aaya. No. It's a very subtle pleasure. The pleasure of a person in the mode of goodness is subtle. For example, their pleasure is at the level of the intelligence of the ego. I'm not talking of devotees. I'm talking of people who are just in the mode of goodness, right? Who have not yet come to the devotional platform, which is above the mode of goodness. So, a person in the mode of goodness, he feels a certain pleasure. I helped somebody. The fact that you helped somebody it gives a certain sense of satisfaction in the heart. यार ये बच्चे का ना मैंने एजुकेशन स्पॉन्सर किया, आई फेल्ट गुड. ये व्यक्ति का करियर में प्रॉब्लम था, I gave them certain guidance because of which their career became good, I felt good. So it's a subtle pleasure. It's not a very gross pleasure. It's subtle. Another means of enjoyment in the mode of goodness. I have never hurt anybody. मैंने आज तक किसी को कुछ दुख या दर्द नहीं दिया है. Of course, this is very often a misconception. People who think like this think, but they have actually given a lot of pain to others. But still, at least in a gross form, I have not beaten anybody. I have not stolen from somebody. I have not, spoken harsh words to somebody. So this is, happiness in the mode of goodness, a subtle happiness that you feel that मैंने किसी का कभी बुरा नहीं किया, कभी बुरा सोचा नहीं. So there's a subtle happiness in this. Knowing what is right or wrong. Now again, it's an intellectual pleasure that just knowing that, hey, I can't do this. This is wrong. Why is it wrong? No, I can't explain it to you, but I know this is wrong. I can't do this. I'll not do this. So there's a certain happiness in making the right choices, in leaving out the wrong choices. There's a certain happiness in the ability to control the senses. So the senses are always demanding. It's not as if a person is in the mode of goodness, his senses are completely, sthita pragya. No, he's not. His senses are also demanding. But he has the ability to say no. And he has tamed his senses. A person in the mode of goodness, their senses are tamed. Like a horse, when a horse is born free. It is born wild. So when a horse grows up, there is a process they have of taming the horse, because the horse is wild. It runs wild here, there. And उसको पहली बार जब कोई वो डालता है, क्या बोलते हैं, सैडल डालता है, उसके मुंह में वो ये डालता है, bit डालता है, and a stirrup is put on its body, the horse doesn't like it. Horse goes wild, and if the guy tries to jump on him and try to ride him, horse goes up like this, idhar udhar, bahut violently he reacts, right? But the guy persists, and finally he manages to control the horse. The horse, reins come in his hands. Then he's controlling the horse. The horse can no longer, react violently, right? So that period where the person is, the senses are struggling. So even in the case of a person in the mode of goodness, senses will keep beach mein raising their head, ki, hello, nice opportunity for sense gratification, interested? Person in the mode of goodness says, no, too gross, not interested. So such a person, he's taking pleasure in the ability to control senses. So why is it nectar in the end? He said that it is poison in the beginning. It's difficult, it's austere, requires you to control senses, requires sacrifice, requires so many, so much patience. But why is it nectar in the end? Because even though it takes time, the happiness that comes from the activities in the mode of goodness, the happiness that comes from that, it is long lasting. You can keep on feeling happy about service that you have done for somebody. Remembering that smile on their face, that gives you satisfaction, because it was not about your senses being gratified. It was somebody else's smile. Somebody else felt happy. Just by remembering that, you can feel happy. You don't need to, again, अरे वो क्या था sensation जिसकी वजह से वो एक particular चीज था जिससे मेरे को मजा आया था. No. You're just remembering somebody else's happiness, and that gives you happiness. So it is long lasting. The happiness in the mode of goodness, it gives long lasting peace, long lasting happiness, right? You're less disturbed by events of the world. So in the material world, all the time, some misery or the other is coming. Adhyatmik klesh, adi bhautik klesh, adi devik klesh. Misery is caused by one's own body and mind. Misery is caused by other living entities. Misery is caused by the Daivat, by the Devatas. So misery is there all around us. We don't need to search. Every moment there is misery, right? So that misery, when you are in the mode of goodness, happiness in the mode of goodness, one is less disturbed by this misery. So for example, I'll give you an example, Adi Bhautik Klesh. So for example, somebody who is in the mode of passion, if they're bitten by a mosquito, right? Okay, I'll give you the same example that we had, right? Just now what happened was, somebody opened my laptop, my other thing, and there it got signed into Zoom. So I got signed out here, right? So since I am predominantly mode of passion and ignorance, immediately I got angry and I shouted that, hey, what are you doing? Band kar usko. And all kinds of upshabda came out of my word in my anger, right? But same thing, if a person is in the mode of goodness, what would happen? Would not be so disturbed. What would he say? He would say, Arey, looks like you've logged into my laptop. Can you just please shut down the laptop because it's getting disconnected here? A very different reaction. Mode of ignorance would probably get up, beat up that person, come back and, fuming, sweating, would, continue or would not even notice. So each person, the happiness that they get, the reaction that they get to a particular stimulus is different. So a person in the mode of goodness is not disturbed so much. Same thing will not disturb him so much, right? So practical example, ekdam aaj ka taja example. Similarly, they're not less disturbed by events of this world. Similarly, the happiness that a person gets in the mode of goodness, they get good results in the next life also. So if you are doing activities in the mode of goodness in this lifetime, you are assured of a better life in the next life. Next life, you may be even born as a demigod if you are performing most of your activities in the, in the mode of goodness. So it's very, very nice that right now I may have a very austere, simple, basic life. It is not much enjoyment, but as they say, the retirement plan is out of this world. It's wonderful. So like that. So what are the examples? Like we see Brahma. Brahma is the creator of this world, this material world, which we see, this fantastic material world with all its amazing arrangements. It's created by Brahma. Now, what is the satisfaction of Brahma? Satisfaction of Brahma is, one, he's a devotee, of course. He's a pure devotee. He is the originator of the Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya, within which, we come. Srila Prabhupada comes and all of us come in that Sampradaya. So he is our worshipable, a progenitor who created this whole parampara also. Is a worshipable guru. So Brahma, his satisfaction, his whole body is not made up of the gross material elements. His body is made up of intelligence. So just by viewing what is happening with the creation that he's done, he gets a sense of satisfaction. That is satisfaction in the mode of goodness. Sometimes we see, right now, this cricket is started again, right? People have started playing cricket again. And that is complete in the mode of passion and ignorance, right? That cricket, wild, yeah. But then, if you've seen, there are chess players. Any of you who might have played chess in your life, you would know that chess has a very different level of satisfaction. So the players of chess, Radha Gopinath Prabhu had quoted this once, I remember many years back. He said that the players who play chess, what is their satisfaction? Just for hours together, they're staring at that chess board. If for one who doesn't really appreciate chess or doesn't understand the game, understand to chhodi do, but for one who doesn't really appreciate it, enjoy the game so much, even if he watches the game, after some time, if he's in the mode of passion, he cannot tolerate. A person in the mode of passion cannot tolerate a game of chess. But a person in the mode of goodness who's playing that game, oh my God, the enjoyment that that person is getting by thinking वो 3-4 moves आगे की सोच रहा है कि I will lay a trap for this person over here, he will take that trap and then I will move this this rook I will move here, then I'll move this knight here, then I will move this queen here, then I will attack his king, and 6 moves down the row, checkmate, I will win the game. So just conceptualizing this whole thing and just watching it pan out in front of him, he is satisfied with that. He cannot tolerate a game of cricket. Usko dekha nahi jata hai wo. Kya pagalpan hai? What is this ridiculous, running around and all this? What is the enjoyment? What do they get out of this? Right? A person in the mode of goodness will be asking questions, or in the mode of ignorance will be asking, "Arey yaar, itna bhagdod karke inko milta kya hai? What do they get out of this? What is the pleasure in all this? So much running, so much struggle. एक ball फेंक रहा है, एक मार रहा है, एक भाग रहा है उसके पीछे. ना मेहनत कौन करता है? Right? Mode of goodness, mode of ignorance. Two opposite ends of spectrum. Both of them can't understand the enjoyment of mode of passion. And person in mode of passion and person in mode of ignorance cannot understand the happiness that a person in mode of goodness is getting simply by sitting like this quietly and looking at nature. He can sit on the beach for 3 hours looking at the waves going, coming, 3 hours, and he gets immense satisfaction out of that. That is happiness in the mode of goodness. So then the next thing that Krishna mentions is, one more point. One important point I forgot to mention. That while happiness in the mode of goodness is good, it is definitely better than happiness in the mode of passion and ignorance, but even happiness in the mode of goodness is not the ultimate goal of life. Because even in sattva guna, the happiness is addictive. It is addictive. It can lead to pride. Because, see, I am not affected by the sense objects of this material world. Look at these people running after, so many sense objects. Pura din yahi chalta hai inka. I don't understand. I'm not affected by all these things. So a person who's in the mode of goodness, there is a possibility of it leading to pride. They feel that, these devotees also, they are, kya ye log ye itna Hare Krishna karte rehte hain. One should only meditate, just be peaceful. So you become proud. You start blaspheming others. And and therefore, because you're so satisfied on that mode of goodness platform, you're not able to automatically rise above it to surrender to Krishna. Even if someone tells you to surrender to Krishna, you're not willing. You feel, I'm happy. I'm good. No. You देखो, मैं I'm very happy with what I'm doing. I do my thing. I do my duty very nicely. I don't disturb anybody. And आज तक किसी का एक पैसा किसी का लिया नहीं है. यार मैं इसी में खुश हूँ. They don't want to put the effort to please the Lord and get spiritual happiness. They don't want it. Right? So to free themselves from the stranglehold of mode of goodness, they will never make that effort because they are so satisfied in it. Then we come to the happiness in the mode of passion. So here Krishna says, let's just read the translation. He says, that happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects and which appears like nectar at first, but poison in the end, is said to be of the nature of passion. So happiness in passion, in the mode of passion, it tastes like nectar in the beginning, but it is poison in the end. And that is why the whole world is mostly trying to enjoy passion in the mode of, happiness in the mode of passion. The whole world is just focused on this thing. That's it. So how does it arise? Srila Prabhupada explains that this happiness in the mode of passion, it arises from the contact of the senses with the sense object. So the eyes want to see something beautiful. Sees a beautiful sense object, feels a sense of enjoyment. The nose wants to smell something nice. It smells some nice perfume, some nice deodorant, some nice food. Kya maza aa gaya hai. Sahi hai, right? The ears want to hear something nice. Again, in the mode of goodness, Mode of passion, mode of ignorance, what they hear is different. The mode of goodness would like to hear soft, lilting music. Maybe someone playing, soft tanpura with, light flute, not heavy, powerful, ragas going up and down. Light. Where the person in the mode of passion would want to hear, this, very intricate ragas. Even those who like classical music, they want, a person in the mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance will be different. So the sense object they're looking for is, very agitating kind of music. Even classical music में जो गा रहा है, ऊपर नीचे बहुत होना चाहिए उसमें, तो उसको एंजॉय होता है. खाली सादा जो गाता है उसको एंजॉय नहीं होता है. हरे कृष्णा धुन, somebody sings a simple Hare Krishna dhun, they don't appreciate. But if they sing with a lot of adas, they appreciate. So the enjoyment or happiness that arises from contact of sense object with the sense of hearing with some music or anything like that, the sense of touch with skin. So each of these senses, when they come in touch with the sense object, the happiness that arises from it, that is happiness in the mode of passion. So Srila Prabhupada explains that this is pleasing to the senses in the beginning. So the senses and sense objects are made for each other. मतलब वो एक दूजे के लिए हैं. They are made for each other, right? So this beautiful sense object is made for the eyes. It has been made so that the eyes can enjoy. They're made for each other. So naturally, if sense comes in touch with the sense object, immediately there is a feeling of pleasure. Where is that feeling coming from? That I am this body. Through this body, I am enjoying this sense object, which is meant for my enjoyment. ये मेरे लिए बना है, मजा करने के लिए. That is how the person in the mode of passion is thinking, that this is for my enjoyment. He doesn't realize that actually I am not this body. The senses are not me. I am the person who's enjoying through the senses. I am not this body. I'm not hearing. I'm not seeing. I'm not smelling. I'm not tasting. I am not this body. Doesn't understand. He tries to enjoy. Now, it is pleasing to the senses in the beginning because they're made for each other. But ultimately leads to pain. This is the nature of all material pleasures in this world. So you may enjoy right now, but it is ultimately going to lead to some pain or the other. Let's take an example, right? Suppose you see someone very beautiful walking on the street. Now, Prabhupada gives a very gross, in the purport, Prabhupada gives a very heavy example. He says a boy meets a girl, he's very attracted, he sees her. He sees she's very beautiful. Now, he wants to see her, he wants to touch her, he wants to have, sex life with her. So he goes through very elaborate arrangements for that. He sometimes gets married. After getting married, if the only focus is that, then it is only going to lead to suffering in the future. So any sense gratification, right, which our focus is only on sense gratification, you may get some pleasure to start with, but ultimately it is going to lead to suffering. So that's the point that's being made. Another point is that when we enjoy sense gratification, what does it do? This is very important for us to understand. When you get happiness in the mode of passion by enjoying some sense object, whatever that sense object, could be music, could be beautiful sight, could be nice fragrance, it could be, something, whatever gross object you have tried to enjoy with these senses, with the body that you have, what does it do? It leaves an impression on the mind. It leaves an impression on the subtle body. You have enjoyed. It leaves an impression in the memory. The brain has registered that enjoyment, however temporary it may be. It may last for 1 second, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds. It doesn't last for long. But that enjoyment which you have got, the brain has registered it, the mind has registered it. So now what happens? Next time the sense object comes in front of you, again the desire comes up. Dhyayato vishayam pumsam sangaste upajayate sangat sanjayate kaman Kamat krodho bhi jayate. So, moment the sense object comes in front again, what does the mind do? Mind reminds you, hey, you remember last time that particular hero's movie you had watched? You remember? क्या मजा आया था यार, क्या एक्शन सीन्स थे, क्या रोमांटिक सीन्स थे, क्या म्यूजिक था. अभी उसका लेटेस्ट वाला आया है. डोंट यू वांट टू वॉच इट? Aren't you interested? Of course you are. Last time you enjoyed so much, again you will enjoy. Come, let's go. So the mind is again going to remind you that so the mind is again going to remind you that you enjoyed so much last time, no? Again you will enjoy. So you try to enjoy. So memories of enjoyment lead to desires for more sense enjoyment. It is like a thirst that can never be quenched. You know, we have read in the previous verses also, like in a fire, if you put fuel, you put ghee into a fire, will the fire feel ki, ha, now I am satisfied. Truth ho gaya main, bas, now I will extinguish myself. No, it will burn brighter. It will make more noise. It will give more light and more heat. In the same way, if we gratify our senses, we will never feel satisfied. In fact, we feel ki, और होता तो अच्छा था ना. Little longer if this enjoyment had lasted. If I could have had a little more food. You know, if this concert had lasted for a little more time, wouldn't it be nice? You know? So the mind will never allow you to be satisfied. It's like a thirst that's never quenched. And what happens because of that? Because you're so used to enjoying sense objects. You have to earn money to enjoy sense objects. And to earn that money, sometimes we resort to sinful means, to unfair means. We end up sinning in order to enjoy. When you commit sins, as we have discussed in the previous chapters also, when you commit sinful activity, you're going to suffer for it. You will suffer either in this life or in the coming life. You're going to suffer. So what is happening? Tastes like nectar right now, but it is going to taste like poison in the end. So enjoyment that I get right now, it may give me a satisfactory sense for a very temporary time. It may satisfy my senses for a very temporary time. But future, I'm going to suffer because of it. Why? Because the desire has increased. Now I want more enjoyment. Next time I don't get that much enjoyment, I feel, kya yaar, kuch maja hi nahi hai. I am suffering there. Or sometimes I'm frustrated. Kamat krodho bhi jayate. That desire is there, but I don't get it. I become angry. I become frustrated. Right? So then the aage ka chain starts. Right? So it sets up a poor future. Sense gratification gives you some satisfaction, but the future is not good. What is the other future that can happen? You enjoy sense gratification too much. The suffering may come in this lifetime itself. You may suffer from disease. You may die untimely. We don't know, right? Old age, disease, and death. These could come anytime. We don't know. You see, people who enjoy too much, they age faster than other people. They age much faster, right? So you understand that happiness in the mode of passion may give you some temporary gratification, but in the long run, it is setting you up for a bad future. In the Gita 5.22, Krishna says, Yehi samsparsha jab hoga dukkha yonaya evate adyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. He says that Yehi samsparsha jab hoga, that by sparsha, by touching of the sense objects with the senses, some satisfaction may be there, right? But nateshu ramate buddha, the intelligent person, the wise person, does not try to take pleasure in this connection between sense object and senses. Why? Because he knows adyantavanta. He says that there is a beginning and there is an end. These are not eternal pleasure. They are not eternal happiness. There is a beginning and an end to it. When there is a beginning, you may get little pleasure. The moment it ends, you become frustrated and miserable and full of anxiety again. This is the nature. Therefore, an intelligent person does not take pleasure in these things. He says, boss, He will take, I mean, for some time we will keep doing it. Puna puna charvita charvananam. Again and again we will chew that which has been chewed. After some time, like, yaar, kab tak main yahi karte rahunga? Again and again I'm struggling so hard for this sense gratification. Itna mehnat kar raha hu main. Kya fayda hai iska? How is it helping me? Right? So finally he decides to give it up. But then there's the third, happiness in the mode of ignorance. So very quickly, happiness in the mode of ignorance. This is a person who takes happiness in what? In laziness or in sleep. Either by laziness he feels that, yaar, just lete raho yaar, aaram karo. I don't like to even lift a finger. You know, this material world today is moving everyone from mode of goodness to passion. Everyone has already moved. I mean, the 99.99% of the people have moved from mode of goodness to passion. There's hardly mode of goodness left in this world. Now they are moving everyone from mode of passion to mode of ignorance. Everything is automated, remote controlled. Earlier, you used to come into the house, you would switch on the lights, you would switch on the fan. You know, earlier we didn't even have fans, you would fan yourself. But now, there is a fan. Now the fan has been replaced by AC. अभी तो ऐसा हो गया पब्लिक को AC भी नहीं चालू करना है. When they are in their car, they'll hit a button on their phone, start AC, so that when they come into the home, already everything is nice and cool. Right? This is enjoyment mode of ignorance. So lazy. So their enjoyment is in laziness and in sleeping. Also, those who take pleasure in other people's suffering, that is also happiness in the mode of ignorance. So there are some people who are so nasty, we call them sadists, right? Those who enjoy seeing other people suffering. They revel in it. उनको तो मजा आता है कि यार somebody is squirming in discomfort, squirming in pain. They enjoy it. That is happiness in the mode of ignorance, right? They kick an animal. Like there are some people who do that. There are some small children who do it. Children also sometimes are very cruel. You can see this. Even in children, we can see this sometimes. That they will kick a small kitten or a small dog. They will kick it and the dog goes yelping in pain. And they enjoy it. Happiness in the mode of ignorance, right? So, you know, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj tells a very humorous story about happiness in the mode of ignorance. What happens when you're lazy, very extremely lazy? So he says that there were two people who were living in a house and both of them were completely in the mode of ignorance. Very, very lazy people who just didn't like to move a finger also. They were so lazy. So one day, both of them, you know, they were lying in their home and suddenly the house caught fire. You know, the house caught fire. And the fire, it spread and spread and spread around the house. And it came closer and closer to these two people. First, it came close to one guy, you know, and the heat was coming closer. As the fire comes closer, it becomes hot. And it was coming from behind him. So, you know, he was feeling the heat in his back. So he just said, BB. BB means backside burning, right? His back was burning. He said BB. Now, he was so lazy that he didn't even want to say his back is burning. He just said BB. Now, the other person, the other lazy guy who was with him in that room, he was also equally, if not more lazy. Now, when he heard this BB, he was thinking that why is this guy creating so much disturbance? Here I am just peacefully lying down here. And this person is now telling me BB. So I have to interpret it. First of all, BB means back burning. And now because he said back burning, I have to now reply. So much effort I have to put, I have to reply. So he replies saying, MA. MA meaning move aside. If your back is burning, move aside. So this is the nature of people who are in mode of ignorance. Their happiness is in just lying down, chill, as they say, chill Madi, just relax, But this is not what we are made for. We are not made for happiness in the mode of ignorance. We are not made for happiness in the mode of passion. Yes, mode of goodness to some extent, yes. Human beings are meant to enjoy happiness in the mode of goodness. But with the influence of Kali Yuga, very few people have this characteristic of happiness in the mood of goodness. Now, what is the happiness of the Vaishnavas? What is the happiness of the devotees? Let us spend a few minutes to discuss this because this is very important. Happiness of devotees is neither in being lazy or sleeping like the people in the mode of ignorance. Their happiness is not in bringing sense objects in touch with the senses and getting some temporary pleasure out of that. Their happiness is not also in performing austerities or giving charity or being nice to people, being helpful. They will do all these things because devotees naturally have the qualities of those who are in the mode of goodness. Naturally, these qualities manifest in the body of a person who is in the mode of who is in devotional life. But what is the happiness of a devotee? Happiness of a devotee is in reading and hearing Krishna katha. Krishna katha is so satisfying to the heart. It is so enriching. It is so delicious. Swadu swadu pade pade. That it is not something that ye ek bar khaya, chewing the chewed nahi hai. There are devotees who hear the same, like it is described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is described that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was Lord Krishna in the mood of a devotee, when he was living in Jagannath Puri, he would go to the Tota Gopinath temple where Gadadhar Pandit, we chant every time, right? Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar. So Gadadhar Pandit, he would be chanting Srimad Bhagavatam, he would be reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go and hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Gadadhar Pandit. He would ask him to repeat. He would say the whole pastime of Dhruv Maharaj. He would say, you please repeat. It is so wonderful. I want to hear again. Again and again, hundreds of times. He would hear the pastimes of Dhruv Maharaj. He would hear the pastimes of Prahlad Maharaj. So this is the taste that a pure devotee has, this taste of hearing Krishna Katha. Krishna Katha is so attractive. We were so fortunate that last week we were able to hear these beautiful pastimes in that e-yatra which was organized by Vishwarup Prabhu. Pastimes of Lord Krishna from Nandgaon, Barsana and Govardhan. Very, very beautiful. So there are pastimes of the Lord that make us sad. There are pastimes of the Lord that gladden the heart. And there are pastimes that excite us. So there are different flavors of the pastimes of the Lord that can keep us absolutely enthralled. If there's a beautiful speaker like Vishwarup Prabhu, who is so wonderfully revealing all these esoteric, as he says, Utkat Leela, beautiful esoteric pastimes of the Lord being revealed. It is so enlivening. It is so inspiring. It is so pleasing to the heart. Even a person who is in mode of passion, mode of ignorance, doesn't matter. Krishna Katha is like that. Very attractive. Like sadness. One beautiful pastime he told was when Krishna, after he was living in Vrindavan for about just under 12 years, and then he was invited to Mathura by Kamsa to kill him. Akrura went and brought Krishna and Balram to Mathura, and then they went there. They killed Kuvilapit, the mad elephant. They killed Chanur Mushtika. Then they killed Krishna. They killed Kamsa. Krishna killed Kamsa. And then after all that was done, they went and released Devaki and Vasudeva from the prison, and they paid obeisances and they met, with them. And Devaki and Vasudeva said that, oh, our sons, finally we get to meet you. They were very happy. And they told Krishna Balram that, no, you please stay here for some time. We would, all the things that we could not do in your childhood, we never got to see your childhood. And all the sanskaras which we wanted to do, now we would like to do them. So please stay here with us. So then, now you imagine Krishna and Balram, they go before Nanda Maharaj, right? They go before Nanda Maharaj and they tell Nanda. So Yashoda has not come; she is still in Vrindavan. Nanda Maharaj has come along with some of the Gopas and other senior Gopas. He has come. So Krishna goes and tells Nanda Maharaj that, oh father, my father and mother, they have requested me to stay here for some time. So if it is your, I have a desire to stay here and serve them for some time. So if you want, you stay here with us. You also stay here for some time. Or if it's your desire, you can go back to Braja, and I will come back in some time. थोड़ा time में वापस आता हूँ. आपके ऊपर है. Up to you whether you want to stay here or you want to go back. So Nanda Maharaj, his heart. See, he was very fearful when when he came to Mathura with Krishna. He was already fearful that this is going to happen, and the most undesirable thing in their heart. Now, the Brajvasis are so fond of Krishna. They love Krishna so much. They cannot think of anything else. He is in their heart at all times. They cannot stop thinking of him. They love him so much, right? So, this Krishna, who they've been seeing every day, every moment of the day, he's not going to be there. Nanda Maharaj's heart was going to break into a million pieces. But what can he say? Krishna is saying that my mother and father, I have never got an opportunity to serve them. They're requesting me to stay. So, I have to serve them. So please. So he says, okay, I'll go back. So he goes back. With a broken heart, he goes back to Vrindavan. And when he goes to Vrindavan, he meets with Yashoda Mai. And Yashoda Mai, she's cooking something. And she asks him, that okay, aage kaisa raha, how was it, where is my Krishna, where is my Balram, I've made some nice food for them, I'd like to serve them, I'd like to feed them, where are they? So Nanda Maharaj says that wo nahi aaye, they didn't come. So she thinks, oh, he's joking, are kya mazak kar rahe ho, bulao na unko, call them. So he says, नहीं वो सच में नहीं आए, they didn't come back. So she looks around to see कि किधर है, कुछ तो नटखट अपना कन्हैया is again doing some leela here, She looks around, she doesn't see him. Then she asks Nanda Maharaj, what are you saying? So he explains to her that, see, this is what happened, that it came to light that Vasudeva and Devaki are the parents of Krishna and Balram, and they requested them to stay back. So therefore they stayed back. And Krishna asked me that, would you like to stay for a few more days? I'll come back, but would you like to stay for a few more days, or you can carry on, I'll come, मैं पीछे से आता हूँ. So I didn't know what to do, so I came back. So she immediately starts chastising him. She tells him, how could you come back? Are you crazy? कैसे तुम उनको छोड़ के आ गए? हमारे बच्चे हैं वो. How could you leave them like this and come back? How is it possible? What a stupid thing you have done. She starts chastising him. And then Nanda Maharaj tries to explain to her, no, you understand. Devaki, Vasudeva, now they're the king and queen of Mathura. They have been released. Kamsa is dead. They're the parents. They are requesting, how could I insist that you come back? It's not possible. Samjho. She says, she refuses to understand, and she starts chastising him like anything. She says that, you could have brought him. How, मतलब तुम कैसे ऐसे कर पाए? She breaks down and she is just so emotional. She says that finally she chastises him and chastises him and chastises him. And finally she says the most harsh words possible. She says that तुम मर क्यों नहीं गए? How come you didn't die? Dashrath, when Lord Ram went away to the forest, out of pain, Dashrath died. You didn't even die. You have no love for Krishna. You claim to love your son, but you have no love for him. How come you're still alive? How could you even live? Coming away from that place, how could you even live like this? What is this? You're still alive. And she says this and she faints. She falls unconscious. The pain is so much, she's not able to tolerate it. She falls unconscious. Then Vasudev, very lovingly, he brings her back to consciousness. And he explains to her, he says, see, Yashodamai, understand. Actually, the pain of separation from Krishna is so much, I would have died at that very moment. At that very moment, I had no desire to live. I wanted to give up my body there and then. But Krishna said that, Father, you go back, I will come. I will come in some time. Now, when he said this, my soul wanted to leave my body, but my heart didn't allow. Because I was thinking that Krishna said he will come back to Vraja. And someday he will come back to Vraja. And when he comes, if he finds out that I'm not there, if I die, you will die. If both of us are not there, when Kanha comes back, who will serve him? Who will make him happy? He will be so unhappy. He will be shattered to see that both his parents have died. How can we do that to him? Just by this thought, I did not give up my life. Right? And then, lovingly, in separation, for the rest of their life, Krishna never went back till almost 110 years later, Krishna went back to Vrindavan. He never went back. 110 years, they served him in separation, every day thinking that today Krishna will come. Today Krishna will come. Today Krishna will come. Every day they're thinking like that. Right? Now this is a very sad pastime. It touches the heart when we hear of the love in separation that the Brajvasis had for Krishna. It's a very sad pastime. But there is a happiness in crying for Krishna. That is the happiness that the devotees are experiencing. Then there is pastimes of Krishna, very beautiful pastime. There's one beautiful pastime, So Vishwarup Prabhu had explained. I'll just, we have time, okay, we have a few more minutes. I'll just explain one more beautiful pastime that Vishwarup Prabhu had told, which is a happy pastime. So Krishna is described that he had this habit when he would be sitting, this is a place called Bhanugad, beautiful place near Vrindavan. So he would be sitting with Radharani, with the gopis. Now Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He's not cut. He's very naughty. So while speaking to him, while interacting with the gopis, he had this knack of stealing the jewels that the gopis were wearing. They're wearing an earring, they're wearing a jhumar, they're wearing some nose ring. After speaking to Krishna, after he left, suddenly they would realize, Arey, my nose ring is gone. Arey, my earring is gone. Arey, my jhumar is gone. And they're so enchanted while talking to each other. They're so enchanted that they wouldn't even notice that Krishna has stolen this. So one time they confronted him. They said that, hey, what is this? You're stealing, And they put their hand in his pocket, and they saw he also put his hand in. He said, Arey, so many jewels. And he said, Arey, what do I tell you? When I'm with you, I only don't have control over my hands. I don't know what my hands are doing. So sometimes they steal jewels from you. Maaf kar do na. Sorry. I didn't mean to trouble you. Like that. They say. So he goes away. After he goes away, the gopis are thinking, you have to teach him a good lesson. Next time, no, we will teach him a good lesson. So what they do? Next time, they call Krishna and all the Gopa boys for a big feast. They say, you come for a feast, a wonderful feast to organize. So they come, and a beautiful feast is laid out, multiple, chappan bhog, and they're eating and eating and eating. They're all sitting in one, row, and they're eating. Krishna is eating with all the Gopa friends. So after eating for some time, they start feeling really heavy. The gopis are serving more, eat more. So they're eating more. After some time, they lie down and they start eating because it's too much to sit also. They're lying down and eating. And lying down and eating, after some time, they're so tired and so full that they stop eating and they fall asleep. All of them fall asleep. And when all of them fall asleep, the gopis go and they steal all the abhushan's that Yashoda Mai every day, very lovingly, she used to dress Krishna from top to bottom, from his pile in his feet to, beautiful peacock feather, everything. They steal all his jewelry, everything from his hands, bazuban, his waist belt, all his jewelry they steal, even his turban and his peacock feather and his everything they steal. And they all run away from them. So now when Krishna comes back, he wakes up, he sees, Arey, ye kya ho gaya? All my jewels are gone, all my peacock, everything is gone. He goes back home that day. When he goes back, Yashoda Mai sees him. Yashoda Mai sees him and says, hey, Krishna, what is this? Where are all your jewels? And Yashoda Mai, she knows what is Krishna. She knows that sometimes when he's dancing, the pile that she's put in his feet, she puts 2-3 layers of piles. Not one. She puts 2-3 layers. Why? Because sometimes when he's dancing, he dances with so much energy that the pile flies off 2 kilometers into the next forest. She knows this. Therefore, she puts 2-3 layers of piles. Today, nothing is there. All piles are gone. All jewelry, peacock feather, all gone. Kana, ye kya kar diya tumne? What have you done? And Krishna tells her, don't worry, I will take care of it. Don't worry. Sab wapas aaye. Koi chinta mat. So next day, Yashoda Mai, she sees that a gopi has come in front of her. And that gopi has a, pallu, which is going all the way up to her waist. Face is fully covered. I say, Arey, Lali, kaun hai tu? Who are you? And she laughs. Okay. So then this gopi goes into this, this place, Bhanugad. So when she goes to Bhanugad, she is chanting, hey Krishna, hey Govinda, hey Shyam Sundar, and she faints. So the moment she faints, all the other gopis come, hey, looks like some great devotee has come. She fainted just by chanting names of Krishna. How much love she has. We also chant names of Krishna, but we don't, we don't faint. So now Vishnu Prabhu is explaining that this is the nature of a pure devotee. A pure devotee does not get envious by seeing that somebody has more love for Krishna than me. They became happy. They felt, Arey, this is a very exalted devotee. So they, put some little water. Face was covered by the pallu, but they put little water. So the gopi got up. And again she said, Arey, where have you come from? Who are you? So much love you have for Krishna. Then again she started chanting the names of Krishna. Hey Damodar, hey Gopinath, hey Giridhari. And again she fainted. So now the gopis are bewildered. They said, Arey yaar, ye to kuch gadbad lagta hai. She seems to be a really pure devotee. Let us call Lalita and Vishaka. So Lalita and Vishaka are, they are the authorities. They called them. Again, same thing happened. Again, they, again she got up. Again, she started chanting. Again, she fainted. So now they called Radharani. They called Radharani that there's someone, gopi here, who has so much love for Krishna. She is addicted to the names of Krishna. Just by chanting his names, she's fainting in ecstasy. So what should we do? So they call Radharani. Radharani is the greatest devotee. She is the supreme most devotee of Krishna. But she also is very enthusiastic to say, Arey, someone loves Krishna. She loves more than me also. I must see her. So she goes. And as soon as Srimati Radharani comes, this gopi again stands up. She sees Radharani and she again chants, hey Shyam Sundar, and she faints. And now when she faints, no matter what happens, they are not able to revive her. Kuch bhi karenge, they are not able to revive her. So now they are wondering, kya kiya jaye yaar, ye to kuch serious mamla lag raha hai. What to do? So now what they do is, Lalita suggests that, see, we have all the abhushan and all the vastra and all the, the peacock feather and all the jewelry of Krishna. Radharani, you do one thing. We'll dress you up as Krishna. Quickly we will, in 5 minutes mein tumko tayar karte hain. We will dress you up as Krishna. You come in front of this gopi. Maybe when she sees you, she will feel some relief, right? So then, he comes, she dresses up very quickly. She come in front of the gopi. And then moment she comes in front of the gopi, this gopi removes her pallu. And there, who is it? It is Krishna. And says, see, I caught you. All my jewelry, all my peacock feather, my turban, you are wearing all mine. मेरा चीज छुपा के तुम लोग कैसे जी सकते हो? Give me back everything. So again, they have to give back everything to him. So like this very sweet pastimes. So these are when we say, Yashoda Nandana, Braja Jana Ranjana. Braja Jana Ranjana means one who gives pleasure to the Brajvasis. So this is the pleasure of the devotees. Hearing beautiful Krishna Katha, getting pleasure in hearing the lovely pastimes of the Supreme Lord, the sad pastimes, the happy pastimes, all kinds of pastimes. This is their pleasure in hearing by reading Katha, serving the deities. Those of you who have deities and sincerely serve them, there is a pleasure in their happiness is in giving beautiful dresses for the deities, wonderful bhogas on festival days, making many, many bhogas for the deities. Chanting the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Chanting the holy names, singing kirtan, dancing amidst the Vaishnavas. We have not had this fortune now for several months, unfortunately, because of this lockdown. But that is a great pleasure. Raising your arms and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. In the association of Vaishnavas, there is a transcendental pleasure. There is nothing else that gives as much happiness in the material world as dancing amongst devotees. Amazing, right? Serving the Vaishnavas, lovingly serving the Vaishnavas, following their instructions. This is the happiness. For devotees, it is not happiness in the mode of ignorance, not happiness in the mode of passion, not happiness even in the mode of goodness. Their happiness is transcendental happiness, which is above even the mode of goodness. Their happiness is in giving pleasure to Krishna. Their happiness is in giving pleasure to the Vaishnavas. Their happiness is in serving their spiritual master. And because they have risen above the three modes, that is why a devotee is always happy. So to conclude, Krishna says that there is no being means living being, existing either here or amongst the demigods in the higher planetary systems, which is freed from these three modes born of material nature. A Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. Right? Mam upeti tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. From the insignificant ant to Brahma, living in Brahmaloka, the highest of the 14 planetary systems. This material world is a miserable place. Punaravartino Arjuna. You will keep on taking birth. It is not a happy place. You may get some temporary happiness in mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance, but it's not a happy place, right? So therefore, we have to understand only by taking shelter of Krishna, Daivesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratya, Mameva hi prapadyante, Maya Metam Tarantite. By surrendering to Krishna, we can overcome the three modes of material nature. We can go back to the spiritual world. Mam upetya punarjanma, Mam upetya punarjanma dukhalaya mahashatam. I don't remember the second part. But anyway, that Krishna says that if you go to the spiritual world, you will not come back again. You will not come back again to this miserable material world where we are searching for happiness, but we are not getting it. Even if you get it, it is temporary, and then you're setting yourself up for a very miserable future. The devotee does not run after this happiness. His happiness is in making the Vaishnavas happy, making Guru happy, and making the Supreme Lord happy. And there is enough transcendental pleasure available in spiritual life. You just need to be able to experience it. Give yourself the opportunity by absorbing yourself in Hari Katha, by absorbing yourself while chanting the holy names. Chant with intensity. When chanting Kirtan, give in to that. Don't just hold back, apna muh band karke. No, give in to the holy name. When you're reading Katha, read with all intensity. Try to understand what is the Lord saying here, what is this devotee saying here. Full shelter. then we can experience transcendental happiness in this life, and next life will be eternal life in the Satchidananda Nam, Goloka Dham, the spiritual abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari. Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments? I'm sorry, we went over time, but the content was like that. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments, anybody?
Yeah, Prabhuji, it was really enthralling, inspiring. It was a wonderful, you made at least me so happy to listening to you. It was out of the world. And only one small thing that I wanted to just, when you spoke about, the mode of ignorance, happiness in the mode of ignorance, you said that, so many technological, gadgets are available, and then people are actually becoming lazy, or people are in the mode of laziness. Now actually all these gadgets are helping us to save time, so that we can, at least devotees like us, can utilize that time in reading or chanting or devotional activities. So
Yes.
how come it is in the mode of ignorance then?
Yeah, so see, a devotee knows how to, Srila Prabhupada said that a devotee knows how to utilize everything in Krishna's creation, in Krishna's service. So a devotee will utilize, a microphone to spread the glories of the Lord. A devotee will use a car to drive to the temple. A devotee will use an air conditioner to give comfort to the Vaishnavas whom he has invited home for prasad. So devotee utilizes everything, even these ugra karma machines, he will utilize for serving the Lord. So he will utilize his mobile phone, to call up Vaishnavas and give them encouragement if they are discouraged. She will use a phone to create an app, which is preaching the glories of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. He will, utilize the phone to send beautiful WhatsApp messages. So this is all Ugra Karma machines, heavy technology, which can be utilized by someone in mode of passion and ignorance to go further and further away from Krishna. But a devotee knows how to utilize these things in the service of Krishna. Therefore, it is not in mode of ignorance. Then it is, even that it is like Srila Prabhupada would say, intelligently lazy. A devotee is intelligently lazy. In fact, he said, like he gives the example that a snake, it waits for the rat to make a hole, then it goes into that hole, eats the rat, and then lives in the hole. वो बहुत ज्यादा फाइट नहीं मारता है डिवोटी, वो इंटेलिजेंट है, अपना इंटेलिजेंस वो यूज करता है टू सर्व कृष्णा एंड bare minimum interaction with the material world. So to that extent, a devotee is lazy, that he is lazy in interacting with sense objects, or at least he tries to be lazy. He tries to be lazy in reacting to the stimuli coming from the material world. That's all right. But otherwise, if you're using things in Krishna's service, that is devotional life. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Very good. Anyone else?
Prabhuji,
yes,
though it is not related to today's lecture or this chapter, but I want to clarify, this sthit prajna means to maintain equanimity in both happy or adverse situations.
Yeah. So the question is, I didn't get the question.
Whether it is correct.
Yeah, it is correct. It is correct. Okay. So, in the second chapter, yes. I don't remember the verse, 53 or 50 or somewhere there, Arjuna asks, Arjuna asks Krishna that Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha. He asks that what are the characteristics of a Sthita Prajna? See, Krishna in various places in the Gita, he has told Arjuna that don't be affected by dualities of this material world. See, that's the point of a devotee, right? A devotee should not be affected by happiness or distress. Sukhe dukhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo. Right? He says, matra sparshas tu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkada. So Krishna is in various places in Gita, he's trying to explain to Arjuna that material world means happiness and distress will be there. Just because we have taken to chanting, just because we have taken to devotional life, doesn't mean that suddenly all distress will go away then happiness will be there eternally. No. We will still suffer, we will still enjoy as per our karma. It will still come to us. But a devotee is not disturbed. By too much happiness, he is not disturbed. By too much suffering, he is not disturbed. Because he realizes when happiness comes, he says, oh my Lord, this is your, your grace. You're being so kind to me. I didn't deserve this, but you're still giving it to me. Okay, I accept it. If misery comes, again he attributes it to the Lord. Oh my Lord, you're so merciful. I am such a sinful person. I deserve to suffer much, much more than this. But you have so kindly given me so little suffering. So a devotee connects everything with Krishna. So therefore, he is the true Sthita Prajna, who is not disturbed by happiness or pleasure, happiness or suffering. So that is what is the understanding as I got it. Rimana Prabhu, you want to add something? Anybody wants to add, can add on this. Any other questions, comments, anybody? Matai, did that answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Any other questions or comments? All right. So thank you very much for your patient hearing. Thank you for tolerating me and my mistakes. And I apologize for the mistake I made at the start. Thank you very much for your time and patience. I'll hand over now to our Brahme Prabhu for announcements. Hare Krishna.